And yet, what happens when every form of labor becomes the same? When every goal, every ambition, every dream begins to feel like work? We spend our lives chasing something we can't even define. We call it success, a word that sounds like triumph, yet feels strangely hollow when we finally reach it. From the earliest days of our childhood, we are taught to run. Run toward grades, toward trophies, toward the illusion of greatness. We are told that somewhere, beyond exhaustion and competition, lies happiness. But the truth is, most people arrive there gasping, confused, and quietly broken. There's a strange silence that follows achievement, a silence that should sound like peace, but doesn't. It sounds like absence, the echo of something we lost along the way. Perhaps what we call success is not the presence of fulfillment, but the absence of failure. A fragile balance where we feel safe not because we're complete, but because we haven't yet fallen. Have you ever noticed how success rarely feels the way we imagined? You get the job, the promotion, the money, the recognition, and then one night you're alone in your apartment, surrounded by all the symbols of achievement, and you hear it. That whisper. Is this all? That whisper is not weakness. It's not ingratitude. It's the sound of your soul realizing that it has been traded for an illusion, that your life has become a performance in a theater with no audience. We live in a culture that worships motion and fears stillness. To stop is to die. To question is to fall behind. And so we run, through the years, through exhaustion, through ourselves, hoping that speed will eventually feel like purpose. But it never does. Because success, as society defines it, isn't about fulfillment, it's about comparison, about being more than, better than, ahead of. And anything that depends on being above others will always collapse when you finally stand still. The illusion fades. You realize you were never chasing success, you were escaping insignificance. Every advertisement, every influencer, every corporate slogan whispers the same poison. You're not enough. Not until you buy this, become that, achieve more, show more, prove more. And we obey. We turn our lives into resumes of worth, portfolios of approval, evidence for others. But when the screens go dark and there's no one left to witness your accomplishments, what's left of you? A collection of moments you never truly lived. The tragedy is that we sacrifice the present to secure a future that feels just as empty. We are like travelers crossing a desert, chasing mirages. Each new goal promises an oasis, but all we find is more sand. And with every step, the thirst grows stronger, not for water, but for meaning. The truth is, success has no taste when it's built on fear. When your achievements are fueled not by passion, but by the terror of being forgotten. We work not to live, but to prove we deserve to. Somewhere along the line, we confused progress with purpose. We replaced being with becoming. And in that trade, something sacred was lost. We became architects of empty empires, collecting things, titles, followers, but losing the quiet intimacy of existing without needing to be seen. Have you noticed how the most successful people often speak with weariness? How their eyes betray the fatigue of pretending to be extraordinary? They climbed the mountain and found only fog. Maybe that's why the truly wise ones, Jung, Nietzsche, Kierkegaard, warned us about the dangers of a life driven by the outer world. They understood that the man who conquers everything but himself remains forever a slave. And so we chase, and we win, and we still feel incomplete. Because success cannot fill a void it did not create. The void was never about status or wealth or admiration. It was about disconnection from self, from silence, from the sacred art of simply being. The modern man doesn't rest. He pauses only to scroll. He confuses noise for life. He mistakes exhaustion for importance, and when the applause fades, he wonders why peace never came. We were told success would set us free, but it made us addicted. Addicted to goals, addicted to validation, addicted to the idea that the next thing will finally make us whole. But fulfillment doesn't come from reaching something. It comes from realizing you were never missing anything to begin with. Imagine just for a moment what it would feel like to stop running, to stop needing to impress, to outdo, to prove. Imagine sitting in the quiet and feeling no anxiety in the silence. That is the true success, the kind that can't be posted or measured or monetized. It's the success of returning to yourself. The irony is that once you find that, everything else begins to fall into place. Work becomes expression, not obligation. Growth becomes natural, not forced. And life starts to feel less like a race and more like a rhythm. You no longer chase approval, you create alignment. You no longer strive for more, you make peace with enough. But to reach that, you must unlearn. Unlearn everything they told you about success, ambition, self-worth. You must become brave enough to be still, to face the silence without trying to fill it, to walk away from applause that no longer means anything. Because, in the end, the truest form of success isn't what others see when they look at you. It's what you feel when you look at yourself. When your reflection doesn't demand more, doesn't crave approval, doesn't whisper, "not enough." Only then can you say you've truly succeeded. So maybe the question is not how do I become successful, but what part of me is still trying to be? Let that question sit with you. Let it echo in the quiet moments between work, between goals, between breaths, because it's in those spaces, the pauses between ambition, that the truth of who you are begins to return. And when it does, you'll understand what the philosophers meant all along, that life's highest achievement is not becoming someone, but remembering yourself. If this message reached you, if it made you stop even for a moment, that means something inside you is ready to listen again. Leave a comment. Tell me what your definition of success truly is, because somewhere buried under all the noise, you already know the answer. And maybe, just maybe, That's where your real life begins.